A hearty good morning to all. From our Oxford Reading Circle course book, in page number 9, we have our lesson 1, Powder and Arms. Powder and Arms is a part of the novel Treasure Island, which is authorized by Robert Louis Stevenson. This very novel has 34 chapters and our Powder and Arms is the 9th chapter of it. So students, before inaugurating the story, let us have some talkings about the author. The full name of Robert Louis Stevenson is Robert Louis Balfour Stevenson. He was born on 13th November 1850 in Edinburgh, United Kingdom and died on 3rd December 1894 in Walima, Appia, Samoa. He was a Scottish novelist, poet and travel writer, most noted for writing Treasure Island, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Kidnapped, and A Child's Garden of Verses. The Lamplighter, Songs of Travel and Other Verses, The House Beautiful, Underwoods are some of the poems written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Robert Louis Stevenson was famous for his style of writing. On his walks in the hills above Edinburgh, Scotland, he would take two books, one to read from and the other to write in. He liked to copy the style of passages that really impressed him. He even gave writing lessons. His students came to him to learn technique as athletes do from a trainer. Some of his techniques are catchy titles, making a mental movie, visual imagery, similes and metaphors, adding the soundtrack, sound imagery, onomatopoeia, editing, and so on. Now, let us talk about the characters of the story Powder and Arms, authorized by Robert Louis Stevenson. In this story, we have 9 characters. First is Jim Hawkins, who is the first person narrator. Second is Dr. Livesey, who is fair, intelligent, fearless, and well organized. Third is Squire Trelawney, who is the treasure hunter. Fourth is Captain Alexander Smollett, who is the commander of Hispaniola. Fifth is John Silver, who is an old sailor cook. Sixth is Mr. Arrow, who is a brown old sailor. Seventh is Tom Redruth, who is Squire's servant. Eighth is Richard Joyce, who is Squire's servant. And ninth is John Hunter, who is Squire's servant. Students, after the characters, let me introduce the lesson to you. Squire Trelawney and Dr. Livesey have assembled an expedition to recover the treasure hidden on a remote island. Young Jim Hawkins, who found the evidence of this treasure, goes along as well. Trelawney is wealthy and has financed the expedition, and Dr. Livesey is shrewd and tough. After recruiting a cook named John Silver, the three of them proceed to examine a ship that Trelawney has commissioned for the voyage, and the ship name is the Hispaniola. So, it is clear that this story is a pirate adventure tale. Next, the title of the story is Powder and Arms. meaning gunpowder and weapons. Now, let's step into the lesson. Welcome back to the lesson Powder and Arms, authorized by Robert Louis Stevenson. Jim Hawkins, the narrator, boards his pennuiller where he meets Mr. Arrow, the first mate, and Captain Alexander Smollett. He immediately witnesses a tense exchange between Trelawney and the captain. The upright captain plainly states his dissatisfaction with the treasure voyage. He declares that he don't like the cruise, he don't like the men, and he don't like his officer. Dr. Livesey cuts this matter and asks the captain what was the reason behind his dissatisfaction. Then Captain Smollett says that he has heard that they have a map of the island where the treasure chest's location is marked. For this matter, Squire cries that he never told anyone about the map. Here, Jim knows that Squire is a blabber. And Livesey declares that at least two of them are there who are honest. First is the captain and second is the cook. Then Trelawney says that he would have fired the captain, but now that he has heard what troubles the captain, he will have arrangements, even though he thinks the worse of him for it. Now, Trelawney tells the captain that the doctor or Jim must have leaked the details of what? Of the map. But both of them knew that it was Trelawney himself, who is known for having a loose tongue. Next, the captain insists that the map be kept secret from all his men, including Arrow and himself. After the argument, when everything was normal, the captain laid some points in front of Dr. Livesey. First point, they means Trelawney's servants and others. What were they doing? They were putting the powder and the arms in the forehold. They have a good place under the cabin. Why not put them there? Second point. They were bringing 4 of their own people with them, and they told him some of them were to be berthed forward. Why not give them the berths there beside the cabin? And the third point was related with the map. Now, already the idle or thoughtless talkings had been done, so the captain had kept this matter aside. To prove this point, the captain tells the doctor that he knew the exact longitude and latitude of the island, that there is a map that indicates where the treasure is, but he don't know who has the map. Now, hearing these points from the captain, the doctor recalls the fable of the mountain and the mouse, in which the mountain labors, making fearsome noises, and finally cracks to allow a small mouse to run out. So, as the doctor was wise, he tells Trelawney that he has believed. Trelawney have managed to get 2 honest men on board. Then They moved towards the men where they were engaged taking out the arms and powder from their work. And the meantime, the captain and Mr. Arrow stood by superintending. Now, Jim was so pleased with the ship's new arrangement that he would get a berth for himself. He examines the ship's cannons. When he was seen so, for this the captain barks on him and tells him to get to work. By the way, 6 berths had been made originally for the captain, Mr. Arrow, John Hunter, Richard Joyce, the doctor, and the squire. They were to occupy these 6 berths. Redruth and Jim were to get 2 of them, and Mr. Arrow and the captain were to sleep on deck in the companion. On the other side, Jim and the others were all hard at work, changing the powder and the berths. It is sure that after hard work, hands would want supper for the belly. So the cook disappeared at once on his duty, and later all of them enjoyed the supper and rested in their respective berths so that the next morning they could start their voyage for the secret mission. Thank you.